Let's talk about full ice hockey and the myths that surround it. Oftentimes, with mite hockey parents, we hear that you need to do full ice hockey in order to learn how to play hockey. Hockey's played on a full sheet. You need to understand where the lines are. You need to understand offsides. You need to understand the tactics that come with playing full ice hockey. And we can't just play small area games, cross ice games. We have to play full ice hockey. So let's deep dive into why that myth may not be true. Why that assertion, that argument that we need to be playing full ice hockey actually might not be the best argument after all. At first glance, it seems very much so. And it seems like, well, yeah, you play full ice hockey at the NHL level and the high school level and the Bantam travel levels, you play full ice hockey. Why wouldn't we do this at Mites? Let's talk through it. So this chart here that you're seeing is from the International Ice Hockey Federation. It's showing you a variety of different small area games and full ice hockey and how many shots each player is getting per minute, okay? When you look at this, you see that there are far more shots happening when you either have fewer players on the ice, full ice, from 5v5 down to 3v3, but even more so when you shrink the sheet and you do small area games. So you're going on 1/6 of the ice and doing 3v3 or 4v4. Same thing if you go on 1/4 of the ice and do 3v3. You see there's pretty significant increases in how many shots the players are getting. We can also see this on the passing side. So passing attempts per minute, they are increased if we go into smaller area games with fewer players playing in those games. So 2v2, 1/4 ice north-south has a lot of passing attempts. Players are getting plenty of touches. They're moving the puck a lot. They're getting up to about 2.5 times the amount of passes in that small area game than they would be full ice. Now, one thing to consider is that qualitatively, this is just a quantitative analysis. It's not a qualitative one. And so what I think is also happening is that players are getting better shot opportunities and better passing opportunities than they do in a 5v5 game. Let me explain. When you're playing 5v5, you have more time and you have more space, especially at the mite level. There's tons of time, there's tons of space. And so when you shoot a puck, you're doing it with very little duress. You have time to do it. When you are moving the puck, a lot of times you're moving it, it's a pretty easy pass. There's an easy lane to make the pass, and you don't really have a lot of distress, a lot of constraints put upon you. When you shrink the sheet and you have fewer players playing, there's more opportunities to pass and shoot. But also, those opportunities are done with less time and less space, so they're better qualitatively as well. And so I think we have to factor that in. I don't think small area games are not only just 5 times better, I think they're more like 10 times better than full ice because the quality of the passes, the quality of the shots, the quality of the decision making, and the amount of time that athletes are actually holding onto the puck and have it, and the amount of athletes that have it is increased significantly. Let's go ahead here and just talk about a few other things with full ice hockey. One, if you have one of the best players at the mite level, let's say you have a really good third grader, you want them to be playing small area games. Full ice hockey is going to be advantageous for them. They're going to be bigger and stronger, most likely, and faster than their peers. And because of that, they're going to be able to play full ice hockey very, very well. They're going to have plenty of time and plenty of space. And so they're going to get lots of opportunities to score goals. Now, that will not reflect the reality of the game that they will play in the future. The advantages that they have from a physical perspective, their speed, their strength, okay, their advanced maturation, which is often what is the case, that will eventually level out. Other players will become about just as fast, and the speed differentials between the top players are going to become very small. Instead of feet, it's going to be inches. If you will, in terms of those differences. And so if you have the best player, you want them to learn the game that they are going to have to ultimately play. You want them to learn how to make passes, to work with others, to make decisions under distress with very little time and very little space. And the best way to do that is to shrink the sheet, to make it a smaller sheet so that they don't have the time and space to do that. And then they'll develop the skills ultimately that will be adaptable to the next level. So even as their speed and strength gains level out a little bit, at the very least, they'll level out. They're not going to have the massive difference that you get at the mite level or even at the squirt level or the peewee level. That difference keeps shrinking as you move up the ranks. you will be training and adapting or creating an adaptable athlete who can then take those skills to the next level. When the space and the time shrinks, they've learned how to do give and goes. They've learned how to work with their teammates to create plays, and they've learned how to handle the puck under pressure and protect it. So that's why the best players, the parents of the best players, should be number one asking for this so that their players' long-term potential can be as high as it possibly can be. And this is also good for everyone else because we want to maximize the development of all the players. And too often, Mite full ice hockey is essentially a glorified Herbie. 80% of the players are skating up and down the ice and rarely get to touch the puck and really don't do a whole lot. And then 20% of the players are touching the puck and skating up and down the ice with it. And so it's kind of fun for them, and they get to shoot and they get to pass and they get to do all that. But most of the players don't. And so they're not really developing. What we want to do is we want to make sure that the late bloomers and those that are just lesser skilled at that time have possession with the puck, that they have time they get some shots in, they get some passes in, they get development in at that age. Now, what'll happen is, especially if they're a late bloomer, is at some point their physical maturation will level out. They'll become faster and stronger. They won't be so much slower than everyone else. They might even, if some late bloomers, they might be the fastest athlete on the ice, but they will have developed the skills when they were younger. They'll have more fun, they'll get more puck touches in, and then those skills will adapt over time. They'll continue with them as they get older, and the skill differentials and the speed differentials and the strength differentials as those start to come together. Now listen, if you don't buy these arguments, that's okay. It's not too big of a deal. But I ask you to do one thing. Go watch a high school hockey game. Go watch a college game, and then immediately after, get a mite hockey game up on your phone, or go watch, if you have an athlete that's playing mite hockey, go watch that game. Compare the two. What's the difference? What do you see that's different? Tactically, you'll see a lot of differences, right? At the NHL level, most of the puck touches are along the boards. Okay, no one's going up and down the ice through the middle the entire game, and players aren't holding on to the puck very long. They're passing it very quickly. What do you see when you watch a mite hockey game? Is it even comparable? Can you consider the two sort of the same sport? Tactically, I think you'll find that they're very different, and that if we want to replicate what the future game looks like best, we're going to use small area games.